We just began the Gemara yesterday. The Gemara says that Ezra, it says there were 10 classifications of pedigree, or classification of Jews who ascended from Bavel. So the Gemara asked the question, which you could have said, that there were 10 classifications of Jews who went to Eretz Yisrael. What does Rabbi Yehuda Nossi, you have to use the term, who ascended? So the Gemara says, because Rabbi Yehuda Nossi is able to communicate to us and teach us other things simultaneously, he doesn't miss an opportunity. Rabbi Yehuda Nossi, he's coming to teach us that Eretz Yisrael is Gevor Mikol HaRotzos. That Eretz Yisrael is, in terms of its location, is higher than all other locations in the world. And the Gemara quoted a pasuk. We're on Sam Testament base. Oh, so that's the question. That's the question. So it says, what's the pasuk? Pasuk is the Chsiv. Lochein hine yomim boim num Hashem. Is a pasuk in Yirmiyah. Lo yomer od chay Hashem shehelos bnei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim. It will no longer be said that Hashem had brought us up from Eretz Mitzrayim. Kim chay Hashem shehelo shehevi es bnei Yisrael me'eretz Tzofon. Hashem has taken us, has brought us up and taken us and brought us from the northern lands, and all the lands that we were cast off there. Okay, let's stop for a moment. So the question is, factually, how could it be Gavor Mikol HaRotzos? Is it the highest location? So, as I said, some say it means spiritually speaking, but you know, if you learn Chumash well, and a number of people here learn Chumash well, the Torah, it doesn't miss an opportunity always to bring out that Eretz Yisrael Gevor Mikol HaRotzos. It says when Avraham Avinu traveled to Egypt, it says, and Vayal, they went up. The Jews went up from Egypt. Always and every time it says they went up. From here we learn Eretz Yisrael Gevor Mikol HaRotzos. That Eretz Yisrael is the highest location. See, you could say, we said spiritually speaking, you're always ascending. Even if you're going down, but spiritually that's an ascent, that's not a descent, it's an ascent. I mean, that's the way we learn. But factually, some learn only versus the surrounding lands, the countries that encompass, that surround Eretz Yisrael, it's higher than those. Meaning, we're not talking about India or Asia. We're not talking other parts of the world. You could have other parts, but in the proximity of Eretz Yisrael, it's the highest location in that region. In that region, it's the highest location. That's what some want to learn. But they bring from some Sofer, some others say it, that if you look at the globe itself, it's true, you have Mount Everest. But on the globe, if it's not on top, today that we have satellites, you're able to see it differently. So I'm not sure in factually what it is. The satellite, how does the satellite see Eretz Yisrael versus the globe? Is it on top? And let's say the Mount Everest is to the side. Exactly what protrudes? What's the highest location? So it could be Eretz Yisrael in terms of location. The globe, it's on top. It's like, Australia is down under. It's down under. Okay, so I'm saying so it's similar to that. Eretz Yisrael is Gevor Mikol HaRotzos. It's the highest location. Even though versus the topography, measuring from the ground up, there may be higher locations. It doesn't make a difference. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that in terms of the globe, you can have on top of the globe, you have on the side, you have the bottom. Right? The world, it's a sphere. Right. So what's on top, what's on the side, what's on the bottom? So even in terms of wherever you are, you may have a mountain. It's the highest mountain in the world. But it's protruding from the side. It's not on top. No, how does it revolve this way? It doesn't go like this. It's not what's on top goes on the bottom. It's not like the Gemara says, life is a wheel of fortune. When the wheel of fortune turns, you can be on top, and in a moment you can be on the bottom, financially speaking, in every other sense. When the sphere rotates, it doesn't rotate like that. That Australia's on top and then it's on the bottom. It's not the way it works. Yeah, the Dead Sea.
And the elevation from there to Jerusalem.
No. That's different. It's different. That's relative to that location. In terms of any location on Earth versus its proximity to something else, that's the lowest location. That's what it means. You know, we live in an atmosphere with gravity, understand? And so therefore, every location is that location by itself. So versus the highest to the lowest, that's the lowest point. Measuring from the highest to the lowest. That's what it means. I see when David went to the bed, he looked out the window, saw the markings on the side of the road. Okay.
But if we're just speaking at the highest point physically, what's the value of that other than saying that because the highest point is bigger than the beautiful than
You're right. It's true 100%. Yeah. One is an indication of the other. The Torah always speaks about the beauty of the matriarchs. Why is it relevant? Beauty is physical. Right? No, because that beauty we're speaking about, being so perfect and physical, that's a reflection on the spiritual. The Gemara says in Megillah that it speaks about the most four beautiful women who lived in the history of existence. Chava is not mentioned. Chava is not mentioned as one of the most beautiful women. So Tosa asks the question, why is Chava mentioned? So he cites the Gemara, the Basra, that Chava was a creation of God. Her beauty was at a level that you could compare even these most four beautiful women who ever lived to her. It's like comparing ape to man. Literally, he says, a kof to a human being. That was Chava's beauty. Because she was the handiwork of Hashem. She was Yitzir Kappa Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created that perfect creation. It's the ultimate. So the physical perfection is a reflection of the spiritual. The spirituality which is contained within the person.
Why wasn't
It's not within the realm. It's a different dimension of beauty. It's not human beauty. It goes beyond. That's why she's not listed. Okay? Samar asks, so if the Rebuta Nas is coming to teach me, although rather does a holchul Eretz Yisrael to teach me that Eretz Yisrael is Gvor Mikol Haratzos, it's the highest location. What should it say? Ma'ir Tani Olami Bovel Nisni Olul Eretz Yisrael. It says they ascended from Bovel. It should say they ascended to Eretz Yisrael, and I would learn that lesson that Eretz Yisrael is Gvor Mikol Haratzos. Here. So this supports that the Mishnah says, Olami Bovel, the Rebuta Anosi chose to write the location from where they ascend, comes to support the position of Rebbe Lozer. The Omer Rebbe Lozer, Lo'olo Ezra mi Bovel achenase kesolis nikiyo. Lo'olo. Ezra did not leave Bovel until he sifted, he purified it as solis nikiyo, as the most refined level of flour. Meaning, what he left behind, the Jews there was no impurities of pedigree when he left. All the Jews that he left behind in Bavel were 100% legitimate Jews. The slightest degree of spiritual defect didn't exist. A cholo. It's not the end of the world. We speak chaloli. So you can't marry a Kohen. Did not leave a cholo. A ger. A ger is a kosher Jew, but a ger can't marry a Kohen. Did not leave a ger there. Did not. It was solis nikiyo. It was the equivalent of the purest flour. That's what it was. So that's a rebuke on us. Ola mi Bavel. The emphasis was on Bavel. If it would say Ola there, so it doesn't bring out this point. Ezra did not leave Bavel until he purified it, that it was the equivalent of the finest flour. Itmar. Now, well, we'll see. No, there's an argument at the moment. There's an argument what the Girs in the Mishnah is. Although the connotation of although, if you read the text reads although they ascended mean on their own. They agreed to come. There's another text, Helu. He compelled them to come. He forced them to come. Well, we'll see. The ones who stayed down were kosher Jews. We'll see that the Gemara discusses. Itmar. Abayi Omar Itmar. Olu. Itmar. Abayi Omar Olu me'aleim tanan. When it says in the Mishnah, they came, they ascended, the word is Olu. And what is the connotation? Olu me'aleim. It was on their own volition. They came on their own. They didn't have to be compelled to come. They weren't forced to come. He classified them in these classifications, and then on their own, they ascended. Ravam no helu tanan. The Mishnah reads, the text of the Mishnah reads helu. He had to compel them. He forced them to come. Although they wanted to stay behind, he compelled them to ascend, to leave Bavel. What's the argument? Kamifkli b'Reb Lozer. The Omar Reb Lozer lo olo Ezra mi Bavel at she'osa k'tzol l'kiyo. Ezra would not leave Bavel until Bavel was the equivalent of the most refined flour. So therefore, he did not leave a stone unturned, that every Jew that was not 100% legitimate at every level, at the most advanced level, he would not allow them to remain behind. So that's Helu. Abaye, Leslie, the Rebbe Lozer. Abaye does not concur with Rebbe Lozer. Rava, Islay, the Rebbe Lozer. Rava, he's in agreement with Rebbe Lozer. That's why it was sold to the Kiyah. So according to Abaye, it wasn't necessarily the equivalent of sold to the Kiyah. It was the equivalent of the most refined flour. There may have been some impurities left behind. Iba Seima Dukuli Alma Islu, the Rebbe Lozer. We could say even Abaye is in agreement with Rebbe Lozer, but if he didn't force them, so why would they come? You know, it's interesting. The Gemara says something else. Marsav Afruchi Afrishinu, you know what happened? He went and he identified all the different classifications of pedigree. Legitimate, illegitimate, whatever it is. But once he separated them, he classified them, they came on their own, based on their own volition. Why? Because once you're identified as a mamzer, you know something, you want to go to a place where they don't know who you really are. So by identifying in Bavel, they didn't want to stay in Bavel. Because then we become like outcasts in the community, in society. So therefore, their circumstance compelled them to come. Ezra didn't compel them to come. No, Ezra himself did not leave it up to them. Now, because they don't want to be identified as he classified them, therefore they'd come on their own. He actually compelled every one of them to come with him. The Gemara says like this: according to Abaye, that his text reads in the Mishnah, Olu mean it was through their own volition, that they had come. Now, what's an Isa? Isa is a dough. What is a dough comprised of? You have various ingredients in the dough. It's a mixture. So he says, all lands in the world are the equivalent of Isa Eretz Yisrael. It's equivalent of dough. Eretz Yisrael, relatively speaking, is the equivalent of refined flour compared in terms of pedigree of people, the legitimacy of Jews. Eretz Yisrael, Isa Bavel. But even Eretz Yisrael does not compare to Bavel. Does not. Why? Because in Bavel they were classified. They came up, they intermingled. Eretz Yisrael relative to Bavel is not as pure. The world compared to Eretz Yisrael is the world is this mixture. It's like the Wild West out there. Eretz Yisrael, Ezra really brought them up. They came on their own volition, but still the question is, could they really go conceal themselves or not? But versus Bavel, even Eretz Yisrael is the equivalent of dough compared relative to Bavel. Maybe Adinu, but if according to that he forced them and he supervised them and he oversaw them, so what's the difference between Bavel and Eretz Yisrael? Ezra, he ruled with an iron hand. Ezra. So if that's the case, why is Bavel more pure than Eretz Yisrael? So the Gemara says something interesting. Mihidi Yadi Lahudora. And when Ezra was alive, there was no difference between Bavel and Eretz Yisrael. He had everyone under check. What happens after Ezra dies? Bavel, there was no illegitimate Jew left behind in Bavel. So if there be illegitimate, but here you have the groupings. So if nobody's really watching over them and supervising them, you can have intermingling. Once you have intermingling, therefore later Eretz Yisrael is the equivalent of the dough compared to Bavel, which is refined flour. What do you say over here? How the responsibility, how the communities have to govern themselves in this area. Otherwise, disastrous in terms of what's legitimate, what's not legitimate.
Really, for the entire Bnei Israel, because
You know, there's a famous Ramban. You know, the Gemara says that during Bai Sheni there were no revealed miracles. There was only one revealed miracle during Bai Sheni, Nes Chanukah. It's the only revealed miracle. Okay? The oil which was only meant to burn one day, day, burnt 8 days. However, the Ramban said there was another revealed miracle. May Sota. That if a woman was a suspected adulteress and she claimed her innocence and she underwent the process of the Sota, and factually she was guilty, she did commit adultery, what happened? It was a miracle. She would bloat to the point where actually she'd fall apart, which confirmed that she was an adulteress. So the Ramban says, why? If factually it was no longer an era of revealed miracles, why did Hashem keep this revealed miracle in place? Because he says, because the yichus of Klal Yisrael, the pedigree of the Jews, have to be pure. And Hashem will not tolerate the impurity. Therefore, despite that they're not worthy of this, of revealed miracles in normal settings, but in this area of yichus shel Yisrael, that there should not be illegitimacy, this revealed miracle remained in place. That's the Ramban. You see? And Ezra understood that. Because, if you take a look in the Sefarno will quote the Gemara in this parak. It says that when we were counted, it says we had to bring our documents of pedigree. Said to Yechusi. Because the Gemara says that the only people who were conscripted in David's army, they had to be Bali Yechusi. They had to be people of pedigree. Because Ein HaShechina Shoreh, Elo, the Shechina, the divine presence, only dwells among those who are Miyuchas, only people of pedigree. If there's illegitimacy, there's no Shechina. What's the basis for victory? Hashem's with you, you win. He's not with you, then he throws you. You go into the dogs. That's where you are. So again, it's the same idea. Never. No, definitely not. Has no, but he's defective. A person, you need sharpshooters, rangers in the army. Man has he has a cataract, regardless. So he's not eligible. We're not blaming the person, but he's physically handicapped. Being spiritually handicapped, he has a certain degree of, he has a representation.
The idea of taking all of the, let's say, perfection so that they could be focused people, I understand that. But once you do that, you actually lower the standard in Eretz Israel, and you raise the standard in Babel. What you left behind is much more pure.
No question.
And what you've got over there is less pure.
Correct.
So you would think, in light of that, that you wouldn't say up.
No, we say no.
Because you're going
We're saying Eretz is spiritually an ascent. It's spiritually an ascent. Everybody, it's an ascent.
It's an ascent.
No, each person has another level of opportunity when you go from Babel to Eretz Yisrael, spiritually speaking. Even the mamzer. The mamzer is able to function at a more advanced level spiritually, being in Eretz Yisrael, being in Babel. Even though he has a spiritual defect, he has a spiritual deficiency, which is innate in his being, in his spiritual makeup. That's unrelated to it. But each in his own capacity, it's an ascent for him.
Say, in sort of a joking way, people who immigrated to Australia during the Victorian era had the company of convicts. And it was a very low society because the people over there were low people.
That's different. That lowliness is morality speaking, ethically speaking. These people could have been the most refined as human beings. We're speaking spiritual defects. It's unrelated to this. So one has no bearing on the other. Nobody says a person has a chavrusa who's a mamzer. There's nothing wrong with studying with the man or including him in the minyan. It has nothing. This is only within the context of marriage. That's where the deficiency manifests itself. But in terms of being part of a tzibur or anything else, it's not. I mean, you can't appoint him to be a leader in a community. It's Gemara in Yevamis. Even the convert cannot be appointed. This is halakhically speaking. A president of a shul, a ger cannot be a president of a shul. Ger is not permitted to be appointed in a position of leadership. It's based on the pasuk. Som tosem alecho melech. It says mitoch achecho. Tosem alecho melech. It has to be from the midst of your brothers. You should appoint the king. So the Gemara says in Yevamis it's not only a king, any position of prominence, of leadership. If the person, so the Gemara speak, what about if one parent is a Jew and the other parent is not Jew? Do both parents have to be converts? What about if the father is Jewish or the mother's Jewish, is that okay? So Gemara discusses this. But if both parents weren't Jewish and the person converts, so he's a convert himself, he does not qualify to a position of leadership.
The child.
The convert himself. The convert
the child.
His child's something else. Child also. Unless one of the parents of the future child is a Jew, also doesn't qualify because it's from both sides. It's a convert.
So it's a convert, still a convert.
In terms of we're talking pedigree, we're talking pedigree over here. It's like a ger has no share, has no.
Like a regular Jew.
But in terms of who should represent us, right? It's based on who should be our representation.
The child of a ger and a regular Israeli.
That's something else. That's something that's easy. Then already he has status because one of the parents are an original Jew.
So Rabbi Akiva himself said he's from the Gerim, but he himself is not the Ger, so he was qualified for leadership.
He was they wanted to. They wanted to appoint him to be the Nasi. Right when he was impeached, dethroned, Rebbe Gamliel. So the Gemara says because he came from Gerim, not that he so he didn't have sufficient schus. He didn't have sufficient merit. He himself was a full Jew. His parents were earlier in the family.
But he didn't want to let
He felt
Right.
as a schus. No, he could handle it. He felt you need a person with a greater pedigree. Rebbe Lezman Azari was a Kohen. And so Kohen here comes from a much more prestigious line and greater merit, therefore he'll succeed. It's not easy to be a Nasi. See Rebbe Leo, what he went through. Right? So therefore you need more merit to succeed as a Nasi. So Mara asks, so according to Rava that they compelled him, so if that's the case, so why is Eretz Yisrael should be no different than what in Bavel? So Mara says it's true. As long as Ezra was alive and his contemporaries were alive, they were able to supervise the generation, to make sure that there's no intermingling. What about Darach Rina Luyadi? Even though you can keep him in check, but not to the same degree. So relatively speaking, to Bavel, Eretz Yisrael is Esau, is the dough compared to Bavel. Okay? There were no Nevi'im. By Shani, there were no Nevi'im. No, so Rashi says because there was a Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin over-supervised, but the Sanhedrin still, it's not the same as Ezra, when Ezra brought them up. So it says, Bishlam Adiyama Olu Hainu D'Chsiv. If you say Olu, it was through their own volition. Hainu D'Chsiv, V'akaptzim El Nor Habo, Al Achvo, V'nachno Shom Shloshi Yomim Shlosho. Here. They came up from Bavel, and they settled. They were in a certain location for 3 days. All the Jews that he brought up. V'avina ba'om. Listen to the story what went on. And he says, Avina, how does he explain Avina? Meaning he evaluated the people. From the word Havana, he what? Supervised. Scrutinized them. Ubokarim, Ubnei Levido Motzosi Sham. You hear this? He had a problem. There were no Levium. He had no Levium. So the question it says in the Mishnah, he brought up 10 categories of Jews. Levium were one of the categories. What do you mean he didn't find any Levium? Elamandium Mehelom, Homizaziri. Yeah. He was careful. It says he classified them. If you leave it to them, so they can come along. Right? We'll see in a moment. Very important Rashi that we say Al Maras Bavel. Shom Yoshavdu V'Gam B'Chinu. The Rashi cites the Chazal. Take a look in Rashi over here. Avinu Bom. Mi hoyo, mi lo hoyo. He went, he scrutinized who came, who didn't come. Shmami lo yoda Ezra miolo. Emos, evidently, if he had to scrutinize them, evidently he didn't force them. He didn't compel them to come up from Bavel. Because if he compelled them, what did he have to scrutinize them when he finally arrived? Emo, Sober show you Shem Levim Ksherim. He originally thought he had qualified. When Levi was qualified, what did he have to have? He had to have all his fingers. Because they played string instruments. Right? So if you're missing a thumb, right, you can't play the string instrument. We'll see. Below Motza Ruyim Laboda Elimoshe Kotsu Bahonas Yideim Bishinaim. You know what happened? The Levim, they bit their thumbs off with their teeth. What happened? What's the background? V'omru Eich Nosher Shir Hashem. He says, how could we sing it? Eich Nosher Shir Hashem. How could we sing the song of God? They didn't say we won't. Mizmor al Naras Bavel She'omalem Nebuchadnezzar. Hear this? Nebuchadnezzar was the Babylonian emperor, says to the Levium, now you're in a bubble. Let's see you do your thing. They were phenomenal musicians. Shiru lanu mishir Tzion. Yeah, sing the songs that you played in Tzion. Play that music. When they heard that, because they were so grief-stricken, the kotsu bahonis yedei b'shineim. They bit off their thumbs with their teeth. V'amru, ech noshe shir Hashema, al admas nechor. How could we sing the song of God on foreign soil? They were so broken. They bit off. He says, how could we? Lo noshi lo. It doesn't say we will not sing. Ela ech noshi. How could we? Ein lonu b'mal l'mishamesh b'nime akinoros. We don't have the ability to actually play the string of the harps because they were missing a finger, so they couldn't play the harp properly. They were all handicapped. So Ma'osa and Olu. So who came up? The ones who were defective physically. They were handicapped. So he needed Levium. So he knew Levium came. He compelled them, but he wasn't. He knew he had Levium, but he evaluated: are they qualified to play the harps, the string instruments? He says the qualified Levium. They were sitting in tranquility in Bavel. Hayu ba'oni. He says, so who ascended? The poor one, the poor Levium, ubetorach or melocha, we had difficulty finding employment. Ubeim is close to the sale, and also it was a question of danger. V'harach Levi diktam harach lochozi. So who did he bring up? He brought up Levi. He knew they were Levium there, but he didn't scrutinize them to see if they were qualified to be able to play the string instruments. But it's interesting. Gemara says in Sanhedrin that Nebuchadnezzar, he started to sing the praises of Hashem to the point that he was about to outpace David HaMelech. Could you imagine? Nebuchadnezzar wasn't an ordinary person since he ruled the world supreme, Nebuchadnezzar. And he started to say praises. It was the equivalent of Tehillim. And he was going to surpass David. So what does Hashem do? He sends a malach. The words of the Gemara, it says, Sotro b'piv. He slammed him in the mouth. Alan, you know what slamming means. Slam a guy in the mouth. Okay. Hashem sent the malach, the Sotro b'piv, to silence him. That his praises should not surpass David's. Okay? So Nebuchadnezzar, he says, Shiru lanu shir Tzion. He says to the Levium, I want to hear Shir Tzion. I'm impressed. They said, Aladmas Nechor, on foreign soil, we should play that kind of music. That music only has relevance to the base of the Mikdash. You destroyed it, were grief-stricken, they bit off their thumbs, they were handicapped. They handicapped themselves. You know? But it's interesting. So Rav Steinman asks, I heard this right from Rav Steinman, should live and be well. He said, the man wants to sing praises because he's going to outpace David. That's the reason to stop him. Right. He has a right, so he's evil. But actually, he's singing praises, proper praises. So why did Hashem send the malach to stop him from singing the praises? Okay? That's the question he asked. It's a good question. It's an obvious question. So David, what would you answer?
Well, my thought was similar to Dylan. Hashem didn't want his praises to come from impure mouth. And there's a whole discussion.
No, but it doesn't say that. It's because it was going to surpass David's praises.
I understand, but Dylan too, the way he did with all those sacrifices, seven.
Yeah, but that's not because they were impure. That's not the reason why. That's not why. Because there the objective was to curse, to destroy Klal Yisrael.
I understand, but he was doing sacrifices to Hashem. He was doing sacrifices.
And that's why he merited Rus was his granddaughter.
I understand.
So it had value.
What came out of his mouth?
Nothing
Hashem
came out of his
said-
mouth. Hashem did not allow anything to come out of his mouth. Matovu Alecha Yaakov Mishpasav Yisrael. We say it. That came out of his mouth.
No.
Because that was prophecy, and it was a proper prophecy. That was praise.
It says that Hashem
He put a bit in his mouth.
put a whip in his mouth because Hashem didn't want, he wanted to impart something.
No, because something inappropriate was going to come out of his mouth. Curses.
But also, the mouth that uttered those words had to somehow be separated from the impurity of the mouth.
I'll tell you what Steinman said. So Steinman said that if he would have said, if his praises would have surpassed others, he has to be rewarded. How do you reward a man like Nebuchadnezzar? You're going to give him a share of the world to come? He has no relative. He has no interest in the world to come. So you have to give him more power. What does more power mean? More cruelty? It's only to bring greater suffering on the world. So what Hashem should allow him to go to succeed in this area, and then he has to reward him and to bring greater destruction. He brought enough destruction on the world. Hashem says, enough. Because since that's how it was going to manifest itself. That's what Steinman said.
It sounds similar to when Paro was playing the Jews out.
He only let him go 3 paces. Because if he
thing.
would have gone further, then we would have paid the price very dearly. We would have suffered plain. Same idea. Same idea. Good. Good. Very good. Okay. Kohani, Levim, Yisraelim. You say 3 of the 10 of the classifications were Kohanim, Levim, Yisraelim. How do we know that these 3 groupings came from Bavel? It says Vayeshu Kohanim VaLevim. It says the Kohanim Levim Minaom VaBeshorim, the people and the Beshorim, singers, Ashorim, the gatekeepers. VaNesimim Boreim, B'chol Yisrael Boreim. The Nesim in their cities, and the ordinary Jews in their cities. So we see 3 classifications mentioned in the Pasuk: Kohen, Levi, Yisrael. So you see they came. Chalol gave b'charur. Where do we see that? Chalolim. This is products of a Kohen marrying a woman that's not permitted to him. It's a defiled child, converts, and emancipated slaves. Chalolim minola detanyo. Asher lokach Rabbi Yossi Omer. Rabbi Yossi says, Gedola Chazoka. Great is the concept of Chazoka. Right, presumed status. We'll see, the Gemara discusses this. What does it mean? Great is the concept of presumed status. Shenemar, Mea Kohanim, who are descendants of the Kohanim, who came from Bavel. B'nei Chavayo, B'nei HaKotz, B'nei Barzilai, Asher Lokach B'nei Barzilai HaGilodik. Isha, as I mentioned, the Kohanim, when they were in Bavel, many of them married non-Jewish wives. They married women that were not permitted to them because their fathers-in-law were people of power, and the non-Jews, they wanted to have son-in-laws who were very capable. So there was a lot of intermarriage. Vayikra al Shmom, Elu Bikshu Ksovam Hamisyachsim. So when they came to Eretz Yisrael, Ezra wanted to bring their books of pedigree. Who are your wives? And they were not able to produce that their marriages were legitimate marriages to Jews. It says, Vayigodu min hakuna. And they were repelled, they were repulsed from the kuna. They were expelled from the kuna. Meaning, Ezra would not allow them to officiate because they couldn't confirm based on who they married, that their wives were permitted to them. So what is that? That's a cholo. Correct? Vayoma tashato. So Nehemiah, who's referred to the Tarshato, said to them, Ashelo yochul mikochi akodoshim, aramod kohen lurim betumim. The Gemara says in Yuma that during Sheni there was no urim betumim. I mean, you had the breastplate, but the urim betumim means that you had the shem first that was put in the fold of it, that when they would ask any question, the diamonds, the colored stones would light up, and Hashem would resolve any irresolvable question they would have. During Bai Sheni they didn't have this. So they're not able to produce their documents of pedigree. So he said, you will not be qualified to eat of the Kodesh Kodashim, the sacrificial meat, until Urim V'Tum. What is Urim V'Tum? Until Mashiach comes. Because when is that going to be reinstated? That's during Bai Shlishi. Bai Sheni, we're not going to have that. So that your status of pedigree will never ever be resolved. That's what he said to them. V'Omalem Harei Atem B'Cheskaschem B'Meshayisim Ochlim B'Gola B'Koche Agbul. So what did they eat? In Bavel, rabbinically, they ate Truma. Truma they did eat. Rabbinically, because Bavel is not that far from Eretz Yisrael, they said produce had to be tithed because they didn't want them to forget, since it was in the proximity, they wanted to still have relevance to understanding the concepts that you have to tithe produce after it's processed. Just as in Gola, you ate koche agbul, you ate truma, When you come to Eretz Yisrael, you also eat truma. We will continue.